You may think that the acting industry is a safe place to work, but it seems like as time goes on, more actors have come out to expose the horrible sets they've had to work on. Hi, I'm Stacey Taylor, and today I'm counting down the top 10 actors who said they were mistreated on set. What actors do you think were mistreated on set? And let us know in the comments below. Starting off our list today at number 10, we have Megan Fox. Back in 2009, Megan Fox would come out to call Michael Bay out for his unprofessional behavior behind the scenes for the Transformer movie franchise. Which isn't really shocking, as after they kicked Megan out of the films, they did have one of the Transformers call her an itch for no reason. In an interview with the Los Angeles Times, Megan would say Michael wanted to create this insane, infamous madman reputation, and he ultimately was a nightmare to work for. She also went on to say, but when you get him away from the set and he's not in director mode, I kind of really enjoy his personality because he's so awkward, so hopelessly awkward. He has no social skills at all. It's endearing to watch him. He's so vulnerable and fragile in real life, and then on set he's a tyrant. In response, Michael then made a letter and enlisted his crew as the people behind it on his page, where they claimed that Megan was the one who was actually really difficult to work with. Number 9. Ray Fisher. Joss Whedon has been accused multiple times on set for misconduct. In 2020, Ray Fisher, who starred in Justice League, wrote in a tweet that Joss's behavior during the filming of the movie was gross, abusive, unprofessional, and completely unacceptable. Not only did he use his social media, but he also used a series of interviews to bring forward some serious allegations of racist behavior and cover up at Warner Brothers. Josh, who played Cyborg in the 2017 film, is fed up with the unrelenting focus of executives at Warner Film Studios and then at its parent company Warner Media, and how they handled allegations that he and others brought to their attention. Right after Ray exposed his mistreatment, Catherine Forrest, a former federal judge who conducted the Warner Media probe, told THR in a statement that in the interviews of more than 80 witnesses, she found no credible support for claims of racism or racial insensitivity. A Warner Media spokesperson then noted that the company made extraordinary efforts to accommodate Mr. Fisher's concerns about the investigation to ensure its fullness and fairness, but the investigation definitely wasn't fair, as his allegations were truly just swept under the rug instead of being heard. Hey my little peaches, are you liking this video so far? If so, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Coming in at number 8, we have Carptenter. Showrunner, producer, and director Joss Whedon now has a long line of celebrities who have come forward to accuse him of abuse. One of the most disturbing accounts comes from former Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Angel star Carptenter, who played Cordelia Chase in Joss Buffy's universe. Charisma only felt inspired to speak up about the mistreatment she received after years of remaining silent because she saw the Justice League actor Ray Fisher tweet about the abusive work environment Josh allegedly fostered on the set of the film. In a statement to her Twitter account in February 2021, Charisma called Josh casually cruel while citing on-set examples like allegedly calling her fat when she was 4 months pregnant, or she was forced to report to work at 1 a.m. against medical advice. She then claimed that Josh asked her inappropriate questions about her pregnancy, and shortly after she gave birth, Josh fired her, and she would know all that promise and joy sucked right out of new motherhood. And Josh was the vampire. While he found his misconduct amusing, it only served to intensify my performance anxiety, disempower me, and alienate me from my peers. Number 7. Judy Garland. The original Dorothy of Oz had a difficult life after Judy Garland passed away in 1969. Later, it would be said that her life was full of many hardships, and she unfortunately suffered her whole life. It all began when the actor was 13 years old and signed a contract with MGM Studios. During this time, executives at the studio allegedly created body images for her by forcing her not to eat and made her develop a resilience on substances. And they even reportedly made unwanted advancements towards her. By the age of 19, Judy then got married for the first time and would go on to have 5 husbands in total. And one was allegedly abusive. The most shocking story, however, comes from her most famous film. Judy's ex-husband, Sid Luft, who served as her manager and whom she married from 1952 to 1965, had a memoir published in 2017 where he claimed that the actors who played the Monksians in The Wizard of Oz made unwanted advancements towards Judy on set, and they would make Judy's life miserable on set by putting their hands under her dress. With the Monksians being 40 or more years old, Sid would say they thought they could get away with anything because they were so small. Number 6. Amy Adams. Director David O. Russell has alleged documented history of aggressive behavior on set, like the time he got into a physical altercation with George Clooney, to the time he called Lily Tomlin a "see you next Tuesday" while filming the 2004 I Heart Hucklebees. But the most disturbing allegation was when David continuously mistreated Amy Adams on the set of the 2013 American Hustle movie. In emails leaked the following year through WikiLeaks, journalist Jonathan Alter wrote to his brother-in-law, Sony Entertainment CEO and chair Michael Yachten, that the news stories of Russell's abuse and lunatic behavior are extreme even by Hollywood standards, before claiming that he abused Amy Adams and that even her co-star Christian Bale had to get in his face and yell at him to stop acting like an a-hole. Amy would then confirm in an interview with GQ in 2016 that David did mistreat her on set when she said, "He did make me cry. He was hard on me, that's for sure. It was a lot. I was really just devastated on set." Number 5. Hannah Waddingham. Battles may have been in common in the film on Games of Thrones, but Hannah Waddingham, who played Septa Unella on the popular fantasy drama from 2015 to 2016, never expected to literally be waterboarded during a day's work. In season 6 on the show, Cersei Lannister pays Septa back for torturing her by having Septa captured and tortured too. Hannah then told Collider that Unella was supposed to be taken advantage of, but decision makers made a last-minute change while she was flying to the film, and her wardrobe suddenly required her in a wetsuit instead of using visual effects to simulate the act of torture. Hannah claims that she was literally waterboarded, and she said, "And there I was, strapped to a wooden table with proper big straps for 10 hours. And definitely other than childbirth, it was the worst day of my life." The 10-hour day of traumatic filming was not without actual consequences, as Hannah would then add the situation definitely caused her to have claustrophobia when she's around water. Number 4. Sophia Bush. When Sophia Bush was playing Erin Lindsay on NBC's Chicago PD for 4 seasons before she quit the show in 2017, in the middle of her 7-year contract, she then would later explain to Dax Shepard on the Armchair Expert podcast that her body could not handle the physically demanding conditions she was put in on set. In the interview, she would say, "I quit because I've been so programmed to be a good girl and to be a workhorse and to be a tugboat that I've always prioritized hugging the ship for the crew, for the show, for the group ahead of my own health. The reality was that my body was falling apart because I was really, really unhappy." She then went on to claim that while the show was being filmed in Chicago, creative decision makers made the cast film outside in weather conditions that were 62 degrees below freezing because the snow looked cool on camera. Sophia also then went on to note that she endured being abused at work because she didn't want to jeopardize her job for crew members, and that the culture protected what was happening on set. Bush alleged that she gave her bosses a whole season to fix the issues that she knew she had been working in the conditions in Chicago, and when they didn't comply, she decided it would just be best to exit the show altogether. Number 3. Elliot Page. Back in 2017, Elliot Page would take to his Facebook page to say that Brett Ratner outed him as gay during the filming of the X-Men The Last Stand. Page went on to say, "I was a young adult who had not come out yet to myself. I knew I was gay, but did not know, so to speak. I felt violated when this happened. He outed me with no regard for my well-being, in an act we all recognize as homophobic." In addition, Ratner also told a woman on set you should F her to make her realize she's gay. Page then went on to say Ratner's comments replayed in his mind many times over the years as he's encountered homophobia and coped with feeling of reluctance and uncertainty about the industry and his future in it. Just a short time before Elliot went public with his story, 6 women accused Ratner of a range of unwanted advances in misconduct. Number 2. Shelly Duvall. Director Stanley Kubrick is notorious for running a demanding set. However, did you know that The Shining broke the Guinness World Record for most retakes for one scene with dialogue after it took them 148 takes to finish it? In 2021, The Hollywood Reporter would then ask former Hollywood star Shelly Duvall if Stanley treated her viciously on set, and she would tell the outlet, "He's got that streak in him. He definitely has that, but I think mostly because people have been that way to him at some point in the past." While Shelly did tell the Rolling Stone Stanley was warm and friendly towards her, Shelly's own daughter Vivian captured Shelly's physical and emotional exhaustion while filming The Shining in a behind-scenes documentary which featured the actor lying down on the floor in a complete state of exhaustion. Shelly once also told Roger Ebert that going through the day after day of excruciating work was almost unbearable. Angelica Houston, who lived with the film's star Jack Nicholson, would also go on to note that Shelly was having a difficult time with the film's emotional content before saying, "When I saw her during those days, she seemed generally a bit tortured, shook up. I don't think anyone was particularly careful of her." And coming in at number 1, we have Debbie Reynolds. Debbie Reynolds got her star-making role playing Kathy in 1952's Singing in the Rain. Debbie was much like her character who was trying to break out into the movie business, as she was not as experienced as her co-stars Gene Kelly and Donald O'Connor. In fact, Debbie had no prior dance training before the production began, but Kelly, who co-directed the film, was apparently not a patient teacher and he mistreated Debbie on set. Debbie would open up about her mistreatment in her unsinkable memoir in 2013, where she would say, "My feet were bleeding from all that dancing, and when I pointed out, Gene says, 'Clean it up.' He was very sentimental like that." Debbie would also claim that Gene was a cruel taskmaker when she noted that he came to rehearsals and criticized everything she did and never gave her a single word of encouragement. Later, for his part, Kelly did eventually admit that he did mistreat his young co-star badly, and he said, "I wasn't really nice to Debbie. I'm surprised she still speaks to me." But Gene's on-set behavior went beyond meanness, as he also shoved his tongue down her throat in a particular scene. Well, that's it for this video, my little peaches. Until the next one, remember to stay juicy.